Welcome back to another episode of Cactus Quest. If you're new here, welcome aboard, and thanks for subscribing as it helps my channel's roots grow, which I appreciate. Today we are in Baja California, Mexico, baby. My favorite country on the planet for cactus, and Baja California is like our very own little local Socotra. Today, we'll be focusing on the central desert region as far south as Catavenia to the beaches and upward to the peaks of San Pedro de Matir. Cactus is the most diverse family of stem succulents in Baja California and is represented by 15 genera, 105 species, 130 total taxa in the subfamily. And one of the coolest things about Baja California is that 70% of the cactus growing there are endemic to the peninsula, which is, by the way, 5 million years old and was originally attached to mainland Mexico.
It stretches for 750 miles south of the border as a rugged, barren desert country with little water or green grass. Most of the coastal towns have no roads at all. Their highway is the sea.
All right, we're trying to find Punta Baja here, I think. I feel like we've been given a sign. What do you think? Is that a sign?
I think that's Punta Baja.
Once we got there, we climbed up onto the bluffs to have a look around. So we got Mammalaria Dioica growing under the watchful care of this native Euphorbia here. Okay?
Okay, that's fine.
The native Euphorbia is draped in this lichen. And then we're gonna just come over here and take a look at this. What do we have? Oh, Crest Quest. We found one. Another one.
Another one.
Another one. Major key right here. And that is actually a really nice looking one too, man. Holy hell. Yeah. Mammalaria Dioica.
Oh, yes.
Lighting is not doing me a lot of favors right now, but that's absolutely beautiful. The Dudley is here, and then look at this little guy. What are you doing there, buddy? Huh? What are you doing down there? Looks like he's a Mammalaria as well. Could just be a nice seedling of Dioica. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Nice little Dioica seedling, maybe. Hard to say. What's this? Euphorbia? Oh, yes it is. It's a beautiful little Euphorbia here with the lichen growing all over it. Wow. That is lovely. Beautiful, beautiful Dudleyias here. You can see the lovely stress colors there with the red, the purple. Not a bad way to spend a day. And you've got more Mammalaria Dioica. And go a little further up the hill and see what we got. Moments like this are what I live for. I mean, the search for the unknown, the process of learning about a new landscape, culture, and way of life, this is fuel in my tank. I could have walked up and down these hills for days, crouching and photographing each plant as they all have a different personality and character. Each one tells you something different about themselves if you listen. I wish we had more time out here, because time is the only real currency. Every time I see a plant in its natural environment, I feel like it colors in part of the larger picture of the world that I live in, and it connects me to that plant in a way that I couldn't possibly be by simply seeing it sitting in a pot on a greenhouse bench. We are on the road to Catavenia right now, but we decided to stop kind of on this little higher elevation section that we've come across where we noticed some Pachycorma starting to pop up, as well as what is this agave, Kevin? Chlorata. So you've got a Hespero, or a yucca here, not a Hespero yucca rather, but a yucca growing here as well. Oh, dude, that looks wicked. Yeah, oh yeah, it is. So do you think this is for sure a hybrid?
Oh, yeah.
What makes you say that?
Well, look at the Chlorata behind you.
Whoa, motherfucker. Oh.
This is typical Chlorata. It's kind of like a drab sort of desert eye looking.
Oh, yeah. It does look a lot like desert eye. Yeah, desert eye that grows in Anza-Borrego. Okay.
And then this one's a little greener and chunkier. And it's growing side by side with Sean.
Wow. What do you think, bro?
I like it. Look at these terminal spines. That's some nice stuff there.
Yeah, you got that right. Comes Dr. Salchipapas.
Dr. Salchipapas.
So we have just entered the beach. Holy crap. Look at this one going off. Multi-headed, really beautiful Mammalaria there. All right, I'm not going to be distracted by every flowering Mammalaria I see. We're going to come across an amazing assortment of different desert plants, starting off with Shah's agave, agave shy. And so you have a couple different varieties, and I would say, based on my conversations with Jeremy, that this here would be Gold Maniana, and maybe the smaller ones might be shy. I'd have to confirm that with him. But we stopped here because this is the first place. W fat fingers. Okay, this is the first place that we have started to notice the giant Bujum trees, Folkyaria Columnaris. So we're getting to them over here. Well, before we get to the Bujums, let's take a look here. Pharaoh Cactus, Emorii, and then you've got Pharaoh Cactus, which I think it's Colorada, but I'll have to do some checking. Echinocerius maritimus. I haven't found a real, these are all pretty stressed looking. And I think this would be variety maritimus. And then we've got, it looks like a yucca there, but I don't know. All right, let's get to the Buj. And I'm literally, this thing is the same height as I am. Boom, boom.
The Bujum tree, otherwise known botanically as Folkyaria Columnaris, is perhaps the most charismatic and iconic plant on the entire peninsula, and adds, in my opinion, a Dr. Seussian quality to the landscape, particularly when the plants bifurcate and begin to branch out, draping over the desert like something from Tim Burton's imagination. Mature Bujums can grow upwards of 59 feet, approximately 18 meters tall. However, calculations performed by Humphrey and Humphrey in 1991 showed that the tallest tree found in Valle de Montevideo was 26 meters tall, and with an average growth rate of 3.7 centimeters per year, that would make that tree 713 years old. Now, in the past, the Bujums have been considered for commercial construction. However, with the growth rates being what they are, those plans were thankfully abandoned. And with little to no commercial use, the plans are virtually only threatened by unscrupulous collectors and in many cases are poached and destined for international markets. The plants here had already gone to seed, which was dispersed by the wind prior to our arrival. Here, they are pollinated by flies, bugs, hummingbirds, as well as being used for nesting by several species of hawks. This is my first encounter with the plants growing in their native habitat, as up until this point, I've only seen large specimens growing in local gardens. I highly recommend getting a chance to see them here. There's nothing else like it.
See these? You got these guys here. I don't know why, but I want to say this is Mammalaria hyderi, but I don't. Oh, look at that. Oh, they're all over right here. Okay. So look. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and then the largest one there. But I'll be honest with you, if this large one hadn't been here, I'm not completely confident that I would have seen all these. Definitely not Dioica. So we're out right outside of Catavina, and we're getting into the boulders. And yeah, we should probably find a spot. Just look for a spot, yeah, when we get a spot to park. Oh yeah, dude. What we're looking at here, this is Pachycorma's Discolor. It's a pachyhall tree that grows down here in Baja, California. Now this is a coveted plant by collectors worldwide for its statuesque and oftentimes grotesque fat caudex-like trunks. But what's really interesting about this particular tree is, first of all, it's a tree that grows in a dry, desolate area like this desert here, okay? There's another very large example of it here. But these particular trees do something that not every tree does. And so what they do is, as you can see here, out of this granite boulder, and in the actual boulder itself, these plants germinate. And what they do is they will root into the boulder. Their roots create an acid that actually helps them to break down and metabolize nutrients within the boulder, and they split and just break these things apart. So there are particular lava flows, hopefully I'll find them when I'm down here, but there are particular lava flows down here where the only thing growing is Pachycorma, and you can see where larger Pachycorma are, where they have already split up and degraded the rocks to such a state it'll allow for other vegetation to move in. Very, very fascinating plant, and this is my first time getting to see them in habitat, and my goodness, I mean, just look at these things. They are absolutely enormous. They can be a little difficult, wow. They can be a little difficult to tell apart from one of the other pachyhall trees that you'll have growing down here, which is Bursara Microphylla, but you'd be able to tell them apart by looking at the foliage and the foliage. Certainly, if you had the plant in flower, that would be a pretty good indicator as well. So, I mean, look at that. And you've got Lophoserius shottii. Now, a lot of people will have, you see this oftentimes growing in Arizona. A lot of people have the monstrous form of this, which is called the Totem pole cactus, growing. It's a spineless form. Although I myself am, you know, I'm kind of a fancy the, you know, look at that. Spines you can touch. Oh. Look at it. Look at it. So I want to just shout out everybody that's been watching this since I did the video where I went to Guatemala. If you saw that video, you may remember me getting a little too excited about some of the ficus down there. And, you know, kind of having maybe what could be considered inappropriate feelings for the plants. But I got to tell you, it's happening again. Look at this. Look at this. Oh my God, so bulbous, so thick. A thick dotty right here. Thick dots. Pachycorma. And I'm not trying to ignore that there's these beautiful Bujum trees.
And it will be better than anything else you can imagine. If you're going to try, go all the way. There is no other feeling like that. You will be alone with the gods, and the nights will flame with fire. Do it.
Look at this. I mean, just look at this. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful plants. Folkyaria Columnaris. What a gorgeous, gorgeous plant. It's gone to seed. Sadly, I doubt there's any seed in there. As you can see, this wind whipping around here, and they're obviously strong enough to withstand all this wind here. I'm gonna say goodbye to this. Goodbye. Goodbye, my friend. Hey, here's me and my buddy down here. All right, all right. So we're in this canyon here outside of Catavina, and you've got these palms that are growing here. And there's two different types. You got this green palm, and then there's also a silver palm, which is really pretty. I mean, dude, look at these towering beasts. So look, you've got Bujum, Pachycorma, Pachycereus. Look at those big old fat boys. Little trifecta right there, huh?
This was absolutely, hands down, my favorite part of the trip. Out of all the different localities and spots that we went to, this was my favorite. I mean, look at all these boulders and the density of all the plants cohabitating here. Come on.
We've got Pharaoh Cactus, Chlorata. I'm not sure exactly. I have to double check, make sure I'm enunciating that correctly. But if you notice from my previous videos, by now you guys, I would hope, are familiar with the California native Pharaoh Cactus cylindriceus, which at first glance, this might look a lot like cylindriceus, but these things are so thin. They're like skinny. Whereas Cylindraceus is going to grow just like this, but much fatter, much fatter. And this is an ancient plant. You can see a lot of that really awesome desiccation and trunking that you would see on some of the plants in Chile, like the Copiapoas and things like that. You can see that here with these Pharaoh Cactus. But yet, I'm still saying, it's like a skinny, almost columnar version of Cylindraceus. More shoddy eye. Look at those buttes.
Pachycereus is represented most notably on the peninsula by the giant cardones featured here. However, on mainland Mexico, you also have Pachycereus weberi growing in Oaxaca, which get even bigger.
I love I love like how some of the stems of these things are like blue, grayish blue. And then some are like green, you know? On the same plant. So this is El Valle del Cirios, the Valley of the Candles, which is a reference to the Bujums. That's a nice red one there. You need a shoe?
The curse of the Bursara has finally been broken. Jeremy found a Microphylla growing around the way, and he's about to lead me over to it.
There's Bursara Microphylla. So if you look at the leaf of Pachycorma, different color. Bursara Microphylla is a reference. Microphylla refers to the small leaf size, and you can see this one has seeds on it. The seeds are not quite ready, and what's really nice about this is, let's see, break a little branch off. That resin smells, the oils of this particular plant smell so fucking good. Another one there. And you can see how when you are looking at these plants, if you're going simply based off of the trunk, they are kind of hard to distinguish from one another. They are very, very similar morphologically. And of course, the small leaf shape in the desert is a proven success story. And so here you have them side by side, so you can really kind of see. Now I don't know how the lighting is going to turn out here, but you have the tiny little micro leaf of the Bursara, and a bigger, it's wider, different color, bit of a lighter green of the Pachycorma. So that's a little, you know, if you screenshot both of those things and you're looking at them in the wild, you should be able to differentiate them apart, I think.
I mean, living in a city with 19 million other people and all the hubbub that comes with it, this is crucial for my mental health and my emotional well-being to break the monotony of the metropolis and leave that shit in my rear view just to explore nature. The magic of the world becomes way more clear to me once I've lost cell phone reception and I have a chance to just exhale and be.
You got a nice crest.
Another one. Another one. Another one.
You know what'll be cool is to come back 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and look at it again.
So we headed into town and got a hotel.
Boogie boo. Boogie boo boo.
Hit the restaurant, they had amazing food, so we scarfed down a dinner.
I guess this is what it's like to walk off into the sunset.
And then we hit the room, got some sleep, and got ready to get back into the desert the next morning.
This is a different location here. I mean, you can just see like the absolute density of plants that we're walking through. You have the Echinocereus maritimus, variety maritimus, Pharaoh Cactus coloratus gracilis. Some are certainly more red than others. You get this Sapuntia species here. You have another species of Cylindropuntia and another different species of Cylindropuntia right there as well. You gotta really be careful where you're walking when it's this thick. I've said it before, I'll say it again. A dead cactus is still dangerous, so Just because it's on the floor doesn't mean it's not ready to gouge it. Now look at this. Just take a second to soak all of this majesticness in. Pharaoh Cactus, Echinocerius, Desert Fairy Twinkles, or whatever the hell they're called. You got the Bujum, and then you've got the Mertillo Cactus. Now, how many people have Mertillo Cactus in their collections at home? How many people that have that Mertillo Cactus in your collection at home knew that it grows right here in Baja California? And it's growing with the Pachycorma. You've got this terrible spiny shrub that I keep having to walk past. It's not great. More agave. I mean, so we're right here on the floor, you know. You got a lot of dirt. Well, it's not really dirt, but you know, it's basically you just got all the desert floor stuff. But what we also have here, and you'll notice it underneath some of these dried leaves, is you have this little Mammalaria that is starting to, whoop, why did I do that? Anyway, okay, so you have this Mammalaria, and this is Mammalaria brandlingii. I may be saying that, I might be pronouncing that possibly incorrect, but I'll put the correct spelling in the corner there. And so what this Mammalaria does is really cool, is it'll actually sink into the ground. So you can see it's essentially recessed into the ground there. All right, let's get down in there. See how low it is to the ground? And I've found a few of these yesterday at a different spot, and they were all very, very to the ground. I love that kind of stuff, you know. So when it's times of drought, they'll sink into the ground. That way they don't have to deal with the sun too much. And you can see that epidermis is nice and green. I mean, that almost looks like, you know, like it's grown in a greenhouse. It's in between these two shrubs, so it's almost never gonna get direct sun. The sun's gonna go this way this time of year, and that thing's gonna be behind the shrubs, diffused light, and then kind of behind that rock and low to the ground anyway. So that's its adaptation for dealing with this harsh drought out in this dry climate. I don't know if it's definitely Echinocerius. I want to say it's Engelmanni, but I'm not 100% sure. But sure looks like it. Jesus, good God, look at the hoof on this thing, huh? Look at how sucked up and desiccated this thing is. How cool does that look, huh? Like a meth head almost. You know, but this is beautiful. Meth head all dried and sucked up don't look too good. So you got this fucking Echinocerius is making it, like, this doesn't even look like a cactus. And then you see some of the shrubs and the weeds and the dried things that are here. It looks no different. And aside from that, you've got little Mammalarias, like everything's a little crispy right here. And then you've got these lichen, and you've got several different types of Didleya attenuata, which also sort of looks a little bit like the rest of the shrubs and dried leaves. So you like have to be super, super careful when you're walking through here, especially for stuff like that, right? So you got a little seedling of Pharaoh Cactus, and right next to it you have a seedling of what looks to be like Echinocerius as well. But I mean, it all looks like the same shit. Like that looks like weeds. That looks like weeds, right? Which is how they adapt and survive. Now that you can sort of tell a little more clearly that that's a cactus. Sure, making it tough to walk through here.
From here, we went up into the mountains, baby. The mountains are a beautiful place, And it's not something you normally suspect. When you think of Baja California, you're not thinking of mountains, you're thinking of deserts and beaches and really red-faced white people drinking margaritas lavishly by the ocean. Well, that's what you normally think of when you think Baja California. But today we're in the mountains where men can roam with their hatchets and their facial hair and be free to chop at the ponderosa pines if they need shelter for the evening, to make spears if there's a bear that they had to fight, or to create some type of a system for hanging meats to dry your own beef jerky while you're there. You never know what you're going to need. Now, one thing I did find particularly amusing about this park is you've got an armed guard with a very heavy-duty assault rifle waiting for you. And he wants to know, what the hell are these three gringos doing here? I mean, you guys look stoned, you smell like shit, and you want to come into the park? Why? Why? Tourism apparently was not really enough of an answer for him, so he was as cold as the ice we found on the ground. But alas, we were able to go in, and we didn't find what we were looking for. But along the way, we found ourselves, and we found the meaning of friendship. It's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
How far back was the condors there? I forget. A ways?
A little ways, yeah.
15, 20 minutes.
So you see you got Mammalaria Dioica growing right with the Brittany's. I don't really want to climb too much higher on this. This shit does not look, doesn't feel too good. But I'd love to get closer. I'll find some other ones. So here we are along the Pacific Ocean, where you have Dudleya brittany growing here. And this is the blue glaucous white form. There's a green form as well, which I'm sure I'll show you today. But you can see how they grow. These are very old plants that tend to live a long, long time. So here you have a perfect example. You've got the green Brittany growing side by side with white Brittany here. And this one is crested. Yeah, that's right. Quest strikes again. Crested Dudleya. Let's fucking go, baby. I mean, it's amazing. I love it. I love it. These Dudleyas are absolutely beautiful. It's a breathtaking view. You have the ocean behind us. If you could ignore the sound of the traffic and the motorcycles and just focus on the sounds of the waves and the chalk of the plants, you're in good shape. Now, from what I had heard, Brittany is supposedly supposed to be a solitary growing plant. Take a look at that. That doesn't look solitary to me. That does not look solitary to me. Okay, I'm just saying. There are certainly a lot of solitary plants, but even that's a bit in the beginning of a clump. They're kind of clumping all over, man. I don't know. Clump, I don't know. This is one spot, I don't know.